What's up, everybody? Wanted to do a review on this Firefly FFLP green bat that I've got. So this guitar is pretty interesting. This is actually my third Firefly that I've had, second one that I still own. But I want to talk about this. There's some interesting little things about this guitar that aren't normal to the guitar. But let's talk about it. So I bought this used. When I got it, you can see whoever had it before me changed out. You can see the gold pieces down there. So originally this all came with gold hardware. The pickups in it were gold, tuning pegs were gold, and whoever had that before me swapped them out, and I'm kind of happy they did. There's nothing wrong with the other stuff, but something that you don't normally see. I've never seen a bridge like this on a fixed tail bridge, but these are actually fine tuners to kind of like you would have on a Floyd Rose guitar or a Kaler or something like that. But pretty sweet. The ball ends just sit right down here in the bottom and they latch in, and then the tension from tightening the string comes in. Now I can only imagine these are some kind of Amazon branded tuning pegs, but they work really well. They hold their tuning and they look good. So who am I to care? They work good, they sound good, they feel good. I haven't had any issues with my tuning. This does have the double binding, and this thing is hefty. I would say it's at least over 8 pounds. I'm not 100% sure. Fireflies are pretty well known for their specs for their budget quality. So they're low budget quality, I should say. Bone nut, stainless steel frets, ball end frets. They normally come with an Alnico 5 humbuckers. The pickups that were in this were some junky Squire pickups, and I was gonna try to get them going. They had nothing but just low end fuzz, and there's more to why that was, why they sounded like that when I started going through this. So I will say I didn't really go through it 100% as soon as I got it. I was pretty excited to try to just get it set up and see if it was gonna rip out the gate. It did not. So normally it's in one of these two spots, or sometimes down here, but I usually find them up in here. There's a ground wire that goes for the passive pickups. That ground wire was completely broken somewhere in the guitar, which means it was probably mangled. It got too hot when they were soldering something. So therefore, every time that I would strum it, it was working-ish, but it sounded god-awful. So these EMGs are actually out of my other Explorer, my Firefly Explorer, I should say, I'm sorry. So I'm gonna save up, and I'm gonna get, I kinda wanna get an EMG 81X and just make it a single pickup guitar and kind of leave the other cavity open. And if I like how the X sounds, because I heard it's supposed to have just a slightly tad bit more clarity. And then I'll save up for another one for the neck side of it. If anybody's got any comments on that, I really appreciate to hear what you guys have to say. I'm pretty partial to EMGs. And Fishmans are good. It's just a little bit too bright for my end. And then when it comes to passives, I'm a huge fan of the Black & Winter Singer Duncan pickups. So, but I definitely like to stick to the active with these guitars. It's just, to me, it's just perfect fit. Whoever else had this before me, some of you guys can see there's a little black dot right there. There's one here and there's one here, which means that they tried to put a pickup cover or a guard on this, a scratch guard on it. So this hole, they didn't use the right kind of screw. They actually used a fencing screw. So it made a big deep hole. So I actually put some wood filler inside of it and tried to cover it up. This one, they used the wrong type of screw, and every time they hit it, it would bounce off because the screw was too long, and I chipped the paint just a little bit. And there was another fencing screw right there. Okay, so I haven't filled this one yet. I need to go get more wood filler and fill it in, but it's not the end of the world. Yeah. So this being my third Firefly, it really gave me some perspective on fireflies in general and how I feel about them, and my thoughts and my opinions. So I'd like to share them. I'm also a guitar player. I've been playing guitar since 2001-ish, somewhere in there. Maybe even before that, 2000. So, but I've had multiple different types of guitars, different brands of guitars, expensive guitars, cheap guitars. I've, just as life is, sometimes we have to sell them, sometimes we just trade them because that's what guitar players do, and then we regret it later. There's very few guitars I regret giving up. So LTD, ESP, Jackson, Schecter, Deans, all great guitars. I've always been more partial, I feel like, to the Jacksons. And I think it's just because I like the way that they feel. But of the last couple years, they just haven't felt great to me. So I don't know if that's just because of change of Fender taking them over. ESPs and LTDs, probably the best quality for your bang for your buck. Now bang for your buck these days, an LTD, I remember when an LTD 400, 500 was $500-600. Now they're $1,000. So to me, paying $1,000 for a guitar that you can get for that same price, nothing's really changed. That doesn't add up to me. New, these guitars, since this was kind of a very limited special run on this exact one here, because they made blue ones, I think they made some red ones, and then there was the green ones. And I'm not 100% sure if there was any other colors, but you guys could chime in and let me know if you're aware. These were $259. Set neck, stainless steel ball and frets, bone nut, full-size pots, Alnica 5 pickups, and their stock pickups, you don't need to change them. If you know how to dial in an amp, they sound fantastic. I would 1000% gig shows with Fireflies. So what I'm trying to get to, Firefly for me is probably just, in my opinion, the overall best bang for your buck workhorse guitars. Some of them a little different, and they try to suit everybody's style. My Explorer, probably to this day, is my favorite guitar. I've always wanted an Explorer, but I've always been kind of particular on what I want out of it. The LTD, I had an EX, I loved it, but it felt too short and boxy. The Firefly Explorer, it's a little bit elongated, and it kind of has the same body style as like a Ibanez Destroyer. Okay. I've had a ton of Les Paul shaped guitars, and probably my favorite one that I've had out of all of them, besides this, I had the Epiphone Bjorn Galat signature from In Flames, but it felt exactly like this does. It's the full thickness, had a chunky neck, EMGs, 24 3/4 scale length, and that's a guitar I really regret getting. I wish I still had that, but stupid is as stupid does. But this guitar is probably, out of all the single cuts, extreme shapes, my favorite guitar I've ever owned, for sure. I can't say anything better about Firefly. So if you're on the fence, I think it's worth, absolutely. You can spend the money. If you don't like it, it's pretty easy to get your money back. On the used marketplace, they sell, and I feel like they're holding their value. Yeah, I don't plan to do anything else to this guitar. So I do have to, since that ground wire was broken in here, eventually I'm gonna have to take this all apart and put a new ground in to be able to make this toggle switch work, to be able to use my neck pickup. That's definitely not a deal breaker for me, because I am also one of those players where I wish I could make every guitar a single pickup guitar. I'm not real big on using the neck. It's pretty rare if I do. Back when I was in my band, I'd use it sometimes for soloing, but you don't need it. You just don't. So, but that's on the list to get this done at some point, someday, when there's time. So, I appreciate you guys watching. Thank you again. Please like and subscribe. And I hope to have some conversations with people in the comments. So, thank you guys. Have a great day.